Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. That's right, Denim Dave coming to you old Yellowstone style. Let's get into this. We've got Clayton Eckhart says, I've become numb to it all. And you hate to see this. You really do. But it's just like every lead thinks that they can control this beast. They realized how toxic some of the community is, and then they just give up. And then the question becomes, is it good that he's become numb to it all? We know Katie Thurston thought she could tame the beast. She knew Reddit. She was a fan of the show. And they're like, no, the beast can't be tamed, because the only way to tame the beast is if the beast destroys you, and you don't want that. So he says he became numb to it all in this interesting conversation with Nick Viall. I'm going to play several clips of that. We'll get into it. Do me a favor. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Like this video an odd number of times. Thank you guys so much. If you're watching in the Patreon live stream, I just created a new Instagram reel and TikTok. That's my username right there for Instagram and TikTok. I'm going to be posting the reel. It's a stand-up comedy clip, so you can go check that out. And if you want to be a part of the live community that watches while we build this video and make the stupid thumbnails and do all that, kind of just try to motivate each other. It's a fun community of 200 plus people. Go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. Okay, let's get into it. Clayton Eckhart says he sometimes regrets joining The Bachelor. What more do you want to see? Well, isn't that the same thing that the same question that's asked in The Gladiator, right? The Gladiator, he kills everybody, right? And he's like, are you not entertained? And people are like, no, we are entertained. We did want to see blood, and that's what the audience wants to an extent. So he says, what more do you want? And it's like, well, total destruction. But if we can't get that, maybe a 2-on-1 date. So we'll get into what Nick Viall was asking Clayton on this episode. I'll jump around a little bit here, but let's just have a watch.
I think the producers got greedy with Clayton. I think they got a bachelor who was willing to be super easy to work with. I try to be super easy to work with, right? But there are times, it's like any relationship, right? You try to push, you have boundaries. I'm not going to cross this line. Okay, fine. They're making a TV show. Let's not pretend they're not making a TV show.
What?
And every once in a while, you're like, all right, fine, fuck it. I'll jump in the bouncy castle. Like, fine, you know? Can you give me this? There's like some negotiation going on. And I feel like, and I don't know this is just my guess, that Clayton was super easy to work with. And I think they got a little greedy. I think
now we call that a useful idiot. I'm not saying Clayton is an idiot, but by not knowing how manipulated he's being, he becomes a pawn to the game.
They didn't appreciate, and I've said this before, the audience is different. This is not Sean Lowe's audience. So when you had the Tierras or whatever, the classic villains that Shanae is, you know, the Shanae's not the first time we've had someone like her on the show, like say these kind of off-putting things and be ignorant or whatever. But the way people respond and the expectations they have of their bachelor, I think is so different. And I just think Clayton's absolutely taking it on the chin. Yeah.
And our audience agrees. Ashton K in the Patreon comment section right now, live watching, says, I honestly feel bad for Clayton. Everyone has been so over the top about criticizing him. He's so clearly been taken advantage of by the producers. I totally agree. He doesn't know what the audience knows, and he's going to address that shortly.
I don't know. Let's see what Clayton has to say. Did Clayton lie in his apology?
Now, before we play that, this is what it's in reference to. Clayton apologized and said, I had no idea what Shanae was up to. And then Lindsay makes this TikTok, which, by the way, there's something about Lindsay I love. I hope she's on Bachelor in Paradise, but she makes this TikTok.
Bachelor, I was sent home, but there's one thing that I wanted to address before I give my final goodbye. And that is this, Clayton's apology to Elizabeth that he posted on his Instagram stories a couple weeks ago. As you can see, he said that if he would have known what was going on, he would have sent Shanae home.
And then she provides proof as to how he knew.
Everything happens for a reason and no hard feelings.
Love the end.
However, you knew. And you kept her.
So Lindsay's saying you knew and you kept her. So Lindsay's essentially calling him a liar, but kindly so. And of course, Lindsay's doing the TikTok game where you're posting things because you're trying to get some sort of clout. And that's what you do on social media. That's what we do on YouTube. So not judging her for it whatsoever, but that's the context of that. And here's Clayton's response.
Yeah, it was frustrating to see that TikTok because, listen, here's the thing. I'm not a liar. I'm not trying to hide anything. As people will see going forward in the show, I stress transparency, and no matter how much I want to try to withhold something, that's just not in my character. I want to always be honest because, again, I think if you're not, it'll end up coming to bite you at some point. And so, no, I was a little frustrated that I saw that TikTok, and here to set the record straight, I'm not lying. What she said in her TikTok was that she had addressed the fact that Shanae was attacking Elizabeth's mental health. And so that is what she said in the video. And I'm not going to sit here and dispute whether or not that she made that comment because there's a possibility. I will say that there is a possibility that maybe she did say that to me. But that's very vague. And in that realm, that's exactly what Shanae was saying all the other women were doing in the house. And so at that point, we're talking a weekend to knowing these women, and I don't have any trust established. So I'm just trying to take things for what they are at face value. But I'm hearing, mental health being attacked over here, mental health being attacked over there. And this is where I had to figure out who exactly was the culprit. I do want to stress, though, that as I said in my post, I did not know that Shanae was mocking Elizabeth for having ADHD.
Normalize believing people when they tell you. Normalize trusting and respecting that everyone's trying to tell their truth. We have no reason to believe Clayton would lie about that. He's got his hands full. Everyone's the star of their own story. So Lindsay's the star of her own TikTok. Shanae's the star of her own story. But you're not the star of The Bachelor. The star of The Bachelor, get the Harry Potter wand out here. The star of The Bachelor is entertaining 30 different women. He's got handlers giving him all this different stuff. He's trying to sneak some time in to do a little, me time, to go to the gym. He's insanely busy during the filming. He doesn't get to know all the petty drama that's going on. He just doesn't, and he also doesn't know who to trust and all that. So let's just continue this.
I did not know that Elizabeth had ADHD until I watched the show back with everybody else. And that I stand by. And I do not recall ever having a conversation about that particular topic. But is there a chance Lindsay may have said, hey, she's attacking her for her mental health? Yeah. I mean, I listen, there was so much going on.
That's like me in a fight. Like, honey, I don't remember saying that. I don't recall telling you don't look good in those jeans, but maybe, so clearly he's trying to cover his bases because, the camera's on him. He's like, I don't remember saying that. God, how many times do you have a conversation you don't recall? And you're like, I was thinking about something else, Anyway, so let's go to the 41-minute mark. We're going to jump around to 4 different parts here. And we're going to hear what Nick has to say about all of this. So let's go right to the 41 here.
Really got him. Prior to this whole show, I did not think, maybe I'm a sucker for strong emotions, but when I associate crying with...
You know what? Hold on. 34. Let's go to 34. We wanted to get Nick's reaction to this, to what Clayton just said.
Typical, even though it might look like it's a reasonable standard.
Actually, all I think it is that Bachelor Nation is taking it out on Clayton, that it's not Andrew or Greg or Michael or Rodney or, some of the other fan favorites that, were more popular than Clayton was when Clayton was selected as the Bachelor. That's not Clayton's fault. And we were hard on him, and and every little thing they think he got wrong, they're just crucifying him.
Yeah, so that's a good point, is that no one wanted Clayton as Bachelor, so we're kind of taking it out on him. Now, what I didn't play, it's not worth going back to see, is what Nick's response was to to Lindsay's TikTok, calling out Clayton and essentially calling him a liar. Nick said, I think Lindsay made the TikTok for attention, and she didn't give a shit about her friend, which is kind of like a heavy accusation to levy. But I think it could be both. I think she could be calling out her friend because she believes that, but also you made the TikTok. Clearly you're having a conversation through the public sphere, so you're doing it with attention on the mind. That is absolutely part of it. All right, back to the 41-minute mark here.
Really got him. Prior to this whole show, I did not think, maybe I'm a sucker for strong emotions, but when I associate crying with an extreme, feeling of pain, suffering, whatever it might be, and I think that's because, growing up, I hardly ever cried. My dad, I've only cried like twice since, you know,
You're probably like, who would fake cry?
I just didn't think you could. I didn't think it was even possible to pull tears out of your.
Nick's been around the block. He's like, who would fake cry? I don't know. Anybody who's trying to jockey themselves to play the victim. And sometimes you might not even know you're fake crying. That might just be the place you go to in order to turn the conversation around so that you're the victim. Whenever you're in a conversation with someone and it's everyone trying to, no, I'm more offended. No, I'm more offended. Whenever you're jockeying to play the victim, not a good place to be. Doesn't mean someone couldn't be an actual victim. It's just different to play the victim.
On cue.
Yeah.
And when you see that back with Sarah yesterday, it's like she was bawling. And because of that, it all of a sudden validated, her feelings and what she was telling me. As I have now seen, looking, Shanae did the same thing to me. And then it comes out, I find out that, hey, those weren't true feelings. She was able to pull the crocodile tears. And that was a huge thing that I learned going forward. Now I realize that people can be that manipulative and can pull out any emotion on cue whenever they want. That's pretty scary.
So Layla says, keyword sucker. He said it. He fell for Shanae's acting out of emotions. Ashton K said, so sweet. He didn't realize people could fake cry. I mean, do you guys remember a time, leave a comment. Do you guys remember a time where the lead had to make so many comments on a weekly basis? It's almost like the storyline of Clayton watching this back might be more fascinating than the actual story. Why they aren't having him watch it in like a secured area with 3 cameras facing him so he can be like, what? She said that about me? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Because you have to know Clayton's watching this just being like, are you serious? You know? He's just like, is not even seeing that this whole world was existing right under his nose.
I think that's honestly, I don't like to be around those kind of people because to me, it's very scary when you can just pull out whatever emotion you want on cue and fake it.
Yeah. We agree. Genevieve, I thought might have been fake crying too. I quite like Genevieve.
We're not going to do the
out here before they get clear when it comes to your personal love story. And does that make sense? Like, are you able to like shed some light on that and how, like, what should we prepare ourselves for without,
hold on.
So where things got really hectic. And then I was hearing everything under the sun, and everybody told me to not read or listen to anything that's being said online. And I love to be stubborn. I decided to choose to not listen to any of that advice. But I will say with that, partly I felt that the more I read, I would become numb to it all. And honestly, I think that's kind of what's happened this last week or two. I will compound on top of that the fact that I've also spoken to former bachelorettes, had these conversations as of recently that have really kind of helped me understand that this is par for the course, and it just doesn't. There's no.
So he's this is where he says he's numb to it all. He's like, all right, well, I read the comment section and I saw everything everyone could say about me, and then he probably realized his friends, family, and supporters are all that really matters, and he doesn't need that negativity. Last clip.
Spark there, and so with that, coupled with the conversation, I just felt like, okay, hey, there's nothing more here. And it's better to part ways.
That makes sense.
Talking about sending Shanae home. All right, we'll just end there because then there's some more questions. We might have another clip tomorrow regarding this video, but I think that's going to do it for this video right now. You know what? Here, we have one more clip here. This is funny. Clayton gave what appears to be Hunter's sister $2. She sent him a Venmo request. $1 for dumping my sister on her birthday. $1 for her having to watch it on Valentine's Day. Thanks in advance. And he sent her the $2. And then Hunter said, OMG. OMG, Holland. By the way, Holland is a hilarious name. All right, here we go.
See it all the way through because, then it may make sense. It might not make sense in the moments. And people will say, well, why is he doing this? I already know. I mean, I've already seen that. Let's just take, for instance, the trailers they've shown where I say I was physically intimate with the both of you. And everyone goes, why would he say that in that environment? It makes no sense. And it's like, yeah, because you don't have the context. And if you have the context, I'm not saying everyone's going to agree with me, but maybe half of that camp now says, okay, I see why he did it.
All right, we're looking for that context. We can't wait to hear. I'm enjoying following Clayton, following his journey. Does that make sense? I'm enjoying watching Clayton as he evolves, and I'm really liking what's going on. I don't like that it took Clayton coming off like hoarse and broken down, and obviously he said he was tired from partying, but I don't like that that's why we now empathize with him. I don't like that people needed to cut him down for us to be like, all right, we can root for him. When in the beginning, people were like, what do we have to say about this tall, strong, white male? We don't care about him. And then you see him get sort of ripped to shreds, and everyone's like, well, he's not too bad. I actually kind of like him. Is it because we've ripped him down? Is that why we liked him? We stripped him down from his emotions and strength and strong jaw and saw the inner child with him. Well, why don't we treat people that way without needing to rip them down? Wouldn't that be nice? Let me know what you guys think. If you want, you can call the voicemail line 401-213-9828, and we've got the Patreon live right now if you want to watch the Patreon live stream, some behind-the-scene content, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Stick around on the Patreon. We'll have one more video coming up, a spoiler for who the next Bachelorette may be. That'll be the next video. Stick around. That's up next. Bye, guys.